Hi, this is Christopher Spera, and this is the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 177. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Recorded live Sunday, July 19th, 2026, live from iTechGear Central. As I said, I'm Christopher Spera, the editor-in-chief here at the iTechGear.org. We've got a full crew tonight, kids. We've got the editor over here at iTechGear and the former contributing editor over at Gear Diary and the late, great Pocket now. That's Mr. Chris Gavula. How are you, sir?
We're here, working our way through the smoke.
Oh, yeah. And it's bad. It's bad.
It's been bad.
Oh, it's bad. Man, you know when I can it was so hazy.
How hazy was it?
Thank you. It was so hazy. Honestly,
isn't that an IPA, hazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It was so hazy that even your IPA didn't like it. Thank you. All right. No. It was, yeah, thank you. That was bad, and so was the smoke from Canada.
Yeah,
directly from Canada. It was
it's
really,
definitely
really bad here in Chicago.
Been bad up here too. Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Horrible
So
smoke.
glad that it's moving through and moving out. Hopefully those wildfires will be under control soon or burn themselves out, because I think Canada's just going to let them burn. Honestly,
I don't think there's a lot they can do. We have the same problem.
I think they're just
we
going to
have the same problem when it happens. There's only so much they can do.
Yeah.
So
hopefully that'll be over with soon, because the air quality here the other day was just. Yeah. I had to stay inside. I couldn't go.
Here
out.
too. Nobody could. Here too.
It was atrocious.
So it was bad.
Okay, everybody be safe. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
That's it. Yeah. So. We've also got the editor here over at iTechGear and the former contributing writer at Gear Diary, and currently the host of the Linux Link Tech Show, Living the Retro Arcade podcast, and of course fitness for the rest of us. That's Brother Joel McLaughlin. How are you, sir?
I am here, and I am getting ready for the big hike number 2.
Good stuff.
Coming here a week from next Saturday.
Awesome.
So, yep.
Awesome. And of course, last but never ever least, we have the editor here at iTechGear, and of course the former co-owner of WUGNET Publications. That's Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. How are you, sir?
Mister.
I'm hot, man. In Middle Tennessee, it is brutally
How hot are you?
But well, I tell you what, at least we don't have all the smoke you guys have up north.
Oh.
Oh. You didn't even have to put your meat on the grill to smoke it this week.
Yeah,
no.
We had the heat and the smoke. It was not pretty.
Yeah, no, it was horrible. It was hot. It was smoky. All you had to do was hang the bacon outside, and it came away hickory smoked. So.
Yep. Couldn't open the windows to get any breeze. Nothing.
Nope.
You couldn't do a thing.
Nope. So, and that's not That's not the only piece of bad news we're receiving this week. Apparently, there's some really, really interesting and probably not so great price hikes coming from Apple in more than one category. Isn't that right, Larry?
That's true, but before I even talk about that, I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Okay.
And I'm going to guess that, folks, these prices are never, ever coming back to normal. I just don't believe. Why would they
come back down again? No.
If we keep paying, they're going to just leave them alone everywhere, not just Apple, but everybody.
Everybody, yes.
The Apple price increases are definitely getting pretty hard to avoid. And it's not just their hardware, but first talking about their hardware. This all started back in late June when they had their big first big hardware increase. The MacBook Neo jumped $100 up to $700, $699. The 13-inch, the baby MacBook Air, it rose $200. The iPad climbed $100 to the base one to $449. So everything, the MacBook Pro, the iPads, the Mini, the Studio, the Apple TVs, HomePods, you name it, Vision Pro, they're all affected. Yeah. And this hit home for me. When I thought about it, I said, I'm going to go up and see what my MacBook Pro cost. It's only like 3 months old. So I went up there, the very same one, the M5 MacBook Pro, very same thing exactly. $500 more. Yeah, that's a lot of money that's 20%.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're blaming, of course, the unprecedented increase in memory and storage prices. And they're citing AI data centers for consuming all the RAM to start the problem to start with, for the problem to start with. But the only thing we're getting a break on, I think, is the iPhones. They haven't gone up yet. But when fall comes around, folks, I think it's going to happen.
Oh, you're just a couple months away from seeing some price increases there. I truly believe that the base models may stay the same price,
Well,
but you're definitely going to see a price increase in the pros.
and if you look,
in the
and
Fold.
the same thing is true if you look at these iPad price increases and the MacBook price increases. The base models didn't jump very much. It's the higher models with the
Higher
RAM
ones,
that
yeah.
jumped.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that really
Well,
jumped.
it's going to affect people like you, Chris G. I mean, you typically get the loaded up one with memory.
I do
Memory
because
and storage, yeah.
Because I travel with them and I need the storage to carry movies and whatnot with me. But
yeah,
I'm fortunate. I'm a base model guy, but still,
you never know. I mean, these numbers are, and I agree with you. The numbers, the probably aren't coming back down. And the only way they'll come back down is if it kills the market so much.
You're right. If everybody banded together and said, "That's it, we're done. We're not buying anything,"
and you know that's not going to happen.
Never, never.
I guarantee you, no matter how much the Pixel 11 Pro XL costs, I'm getting it.
There you go.
As long as Misty says it's okay.
She ain't gonna have a choice.
I think most people are
spoken by a man with a new dog controlling his house.
Yeah,
I think most people are where you are, Joel. There's like, if they want it, they want it. Yeah. End of story. You know.
But you know, Apple hardware isn't really the only thing getting more expensive. The AppleCare, all the new plans for the current Mac and iPad, they're up $5 a year, depending on the model number. Could be more. Existing subscribers do get to keep their old pricing. AppleCare 1 didn't change. That's the only thing. So maybe that's a good deal if you want it. I'm not a fan of AppleCare 1, but on Friday they hit my pocketbook because they raised Apple Music.
Yeah.
And also almost all of the Apple One bundle prices. So music is now $12 a month for an individual subscription. Family is $20.
Yeah.
And Apple explicitly said the cost of the licensing, paying the musicians more, and that's not music to my ears, quite frankly.
No, but to be honest with you, they're no worse than their competitors. They're still in line with their competitors. So
Apple
worth.
One, I still maintain that if you do anything, if you do 3 of those, you're ahead. I don't care.
Yeah,
it's still money. It's still an increase.
But there's 6 pieces to that, right?
That's right.
You've got Apple Music, you've got Apple TV, you've got iCloud, you've got Apple News.
Oh, yeah.
You've got games, and then there's one more, isn't there?
Arcade,
fitness,
arcade,
fitness. That's it.
iCloud,
arcade
and games, same thing. But yeah, you've got those 6 pieces.
To me, it's still a bargain by about $6. I think.
Well, here's the other piece I've been wondering for a while was, we talked about that. We're going to talk about this a little bit more shortly. AI is not free.
No,
we've been using it heavily subsidized at most of these companies for quite a while now. And so my question was, what is Apple going to do to charge us for Siri? And one of the things was to require you, if you want the advanced features, you're going to have the 2 gig or the 2 gig Apple One.
2 terabyte.
Sorry, I said gig. You're right, terabytes. You have
and
to have that account
anyway
or you have to have the Apple One. And I think this is just kind of a part of that as well. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of part of the same animal.
At least I feel like I'm getting something for my money with Apple.
I do too. Still, even with the higher pricing.
See, I'm using 4. I'm using at least 4 out of the
Me too.
Of 6. So I feel like I'm.
And if you're not, you won't feel like the value is. But if you do, you do.
It's still a little pricey at almost $40 a month, but.
It's a lot of stuff in there, though. I mean, you got your video and your music and your storage
sharing with that.
And you got your family sharing. Yeah.
And something a lot of people forget about, I know Joel is probably more than any of us into fitness, but Apple Fitness is not just fitness. I mean, for those of you
Oh,
who
yeah.
do mental wellness, meditation, they have
Yeah.
a wonderful meditation
And
program.
they have a lot of video programs
Awesome.
and things like that in there.
Yeah.
They have a lot of side stuff in there. It's
Yep.
true.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some value
But
to it.
and it's important to note, though. I mean, Apple Fitness, as well as as the resident fitness. I'm not going to say guru because I don't feel qualified to be a guru yet. But the fitness things are useful, especially if you're just starting out.
Very true.
I think once you get to a certain level, though, it ain't gonna be enough. And that's just my personal opinion.
No, it's basic stuff,
But-
right? I mean, but if you're a runner, if you're a cycler or a cyclist, if you do any kind of basic gym workouts, and I'm not talking about somebody who's truly,
Basic.
I'm
Right.
talking about your average individual, right?
Yeah.
If you're not somebody who's like a triathlete or anything, but if you're a swimmer, if you're a runner, if you do any kind of gym workouts, I mean the
It's a
activities
wider-
in
it's a
Apple
wide
One are
platform,
probably really right on for you. You know,
It's a very wide platform in a lot of
It
ways.
is.
It isn't deep in some ways, but it's wide in a lot of ways. Where
It
so
is.
it's got some value for a lot of folks. But you're right, it's not for everybody, but for a lot of folks. And again, it's not just the fitness; it's everything else. They've got
Right.
a decent news spread. That's not a whole lot of chum bucket stuff. Fortunately,
I will say this too, at least with the Apple One. I, for one, I do not have Apple One. I have the pieces parts because I don't need the fitness.
right,
I don't
right.
need the Apple Music. I don't.
You
want
almost need an Apple
TV.
Watch to take true benefit out of all
Of
that.
fitness anyway.
Of
None of
fitness
the other
anyway,
things.
Fitness and
Fitness,
Apple
yes,
Music.
but it's like
no, I use it without it.
I
watch
very
for music.
rarely I don't have any content on my watch at all.
I
me
just
neither.
I just use the storage for
But
backing up
Chris,
my
what
phone.
do you take
That's
with
it.
you if you were walking or just taking a little hike?
My
or
phone.
something?
I always have my phone with me.
Right, but yeah, I guess.
I have phone in my earbuds. I don't need.
See, I
I
don't
have the watch on.
I don't like carrying the phone, just taking a walk around the block.
Oh, I do.
Right.
Yeah, so do
I
I.
do.
So do I.
Yeah. I mean,
Phone goes
for
where I
me,
Me
it's-
too.
I go to walk the dog, and the first thing I do is I hit the walk thing on my Garmin.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
because I track each and every step, and each and every time I'm doing
Yeah.
something physical, I do it.
Yeah.
And
But that-
it's
that-
just because I built the habit.
Right.
But they also have the 2 terabytes for iCloud is a nice piece to Apple One too.
Yes.
It's it's
Sure
bigger
it
than a
is.
lot of storage that's out
It
there.
goes for
folks.
if you completely use the ecosystem,
Absolutely,
it's worth
absolutely.
it for you.
And
Like,
I don't know if you guys read, but when the new Apple Home app launches this fall,
right.
and I'm using, of course, we're using
Oh.
the beta. It's going to require
Yeah.
the
Space, yeah.
top
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That's for all the videos got to
And-
store.
And keep in mind, the iCloud storage, it works with Windows too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
It does.
But I mean, finally, I can stop paying Google $100 a year or
Right.
200 a year. Excuse me.
it's
Mhm.
always stuff. You get stuff with all these bundles, so it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and the bundle thing, at least when it comes to the Apple stuff, and I would say also with Google One, I find it very worth it. But the thing that I don't like the bundling on is my cell phone plan. But I'm not going to go.
Oh,
into that
I'm with
right
you
now.
on that one too.
Yeah,
I don't like it
no,
bundled with my cell
don't
phone.
load me up on my cell phone plan, please.
Oh,
To be a
fun.
big pain in the butt. So, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But if you do like getting things loaded up, apparently, and you're an iPhone user, and you've got a CarPlay radio, apparently now CarPlay works with over 120 different apps.
This is true. Yeah, very, very true. I don't know. I use CarPlay a lot. And if I was a Google guy, I'd probably use Android Auto. But I mean, the concept I use. It's really nice if you're going somewhere, like on a support call or something like I might go on. It's just there. You turn the car on, it says, "Hey, Larry, your calendar says you're going here. Do you want to go?"
Yeah.
I go, "Yeah, let's go." And away we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in a lot of these places I've never been to before, even though they're close by, they're
Yeah,
resident.
I'm looking at this list on the story though. Why in the world do you need Chick-fil-A to work on CarPlay?
You want to place an order while you're driving?
I guess.
I guess. I don't
You know,
know.
interestingly
Well-
enough, they've got there's a number of different categories that they've got apps going in. There's Apple apps, right? And all right. And then you've got different CarPlay features like now playing dashboard widgets and live activities. But you've also got AI apps that will work. You've got audiobook apps that will work.
There's just audio apps in general. There's lots of music
Right.
apps.
You know, in all honesty, all of the built-in stuff, just the essentials like nav, calls, messages, audio, your schedule, those are built-in tools. And I mean, everybody could use those.
Everybody can use
Others
those,
icing on the cake. If you don't want AI, don't use it.
Right.
If you don't want
but
whatever,
you've got other categories of apps. You've got communication apps, which is like Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, Telegram, WeChat, WhatsApp, Zoom. All right, so you can listen into your meeting while you're driving into the office. There's EV charging, fuel and parking apps. There's
and
apps
then there's the features themselves, and those are things that are not apps like dashboard and widgets, live stuff, live activities.
And by the way, this stuff is improving a lot even under iOS 27.
I mean,
some of the changes are amazing.
For those of us on iOS 27, CarPlay is unbelievely good.
Right.
It gets better with every version. That's for sure.
It's almost scary.
But you've got food apps, you've got music apps, and I think music is probably the biggest area where there are apps available. All right. I think that's the largest category that you've got.
Well, even under Map
20,
Maps,
20
even with from CarPlay with Map Maps, I can use Apple Maps, I can use Google Maps. Even though my car has Google Maps, I can use Google Maps on CarPlay. I can use Waze. I can use a bunch of other third parties out there have apps that
navigation
play
is
on
also a big app. Yeah.
So I find it interesting. And by the way, I do find under the newest versions of CarPlay 26 and 27 that on my car anyway, I have some kind of separate screens for the center where the dashboard is and the speedometer is.
Yeah.
And I have a separate screen for the infotainment portion of things.
Yep. I
can actually, when I run CarPlay, it normally runs on the infotainment screen, but with the maps, I can actually send, if I'm in navigating mode on Apple Maps, I can send that map to my center screen, my normal speedometer screen, and have the localized turn by turn, whereas the infotainment showing my overall trip.
See, and
at the same time.
That's kind of cool.
That's a nice feature.
But there's a downside to relying fully something like CarPlay.
Oh, absolutely.
This couple of days ago, Brenda and I took a trip up to through the mountains to Bald River Falls, and we no sooner got about 20 feet inside the Cherahalla skyline, and boom, signal gone from the phone, dead, nothing.
Yeah.
We never, for an hour and a half, we didn't have one bit of cellular data, nothing.
But you don't need it, Larry. You can download maps ahead of time.
I know that, plus you have it in your car. Your car system will always work from the GPS because it's on satellite.
As long as you
have the maps downloaded,
as long as you've got the maps downloaded, you don't need.
I would have been lost 2 or 3 times.
So most car systems have when you update your car patching, it updates your maps. Your maps are actually downloaded locally. It's not pulling them over the network. But with Apple and with Google, for that matter, you can download maps ahead of time, so you don't have to worry about losing signal.
True.
If you got GPS, you're good.
You can, and as long as you've got clear line of sight for the satellite, you should be,
GPS,
and you've got the maps downloaded, you should be
But
fine.
You're going to need GPS either way. I mean, if you're going to, whether you're using the car or using your CarPlay, you got to have GPS line of sight, or you're not going to get that.
Right. But the point
it's a thing.
True.
But the point here is that you've got a number of different apps that are available.
Yeah.
120 is a lot.
120 is a lot.
Obviously, not everybody is going to need all 120.
No, but it's nice that they make them available because you might want these 3 and Joel might want 3 others.
Exactly. Choice, consumer choice is always the way to go.
The only thing I really want, nobody has, not even Apple right now, is I want to be able to listen to audio only on YouTube. Because there are several people that stream or do podcasts direct to YouTube where I don't care about the video, I just want to hear the audio.
Why hasn't Google written it?
Right. And what's interesting is
They
that
want you to. It's all about the ads.
well, what's interesting though is
I don't have ads. I got premium.
Oh, that's right.
YouTube will not play just audio if there's a video associated with it. The whole thing won't play, right? I found that out.
Premium, but
well, I mean, as an example, you say, hey, play this video. It won't, and all you want to do is listen to the audio. Let's say it's a song, right?
Say it's a music concert.
It's a music video or whatever, and all you want to do is listen to that version of that song. It won't play if there's video associated with it and you're driving.
True.
Yep.
So, which is a pain in the ass.
I mean, I can listen to audio only on my car.
Can't you just shut off the video? I mean,
well, no. What I have to do is I have to start it on my phone.
Yeah,
and
I got you.
And then the audio goes through it, and
right.
And nav still works and all that. I just don't have any feedback on the screen from it.
Yeah, for some reason
I don't care.
Google
I just need base feedback. I don't need.
Yeah, Google needs to address that with the app. They need to fix the app to allow it.
Yep.
They do.
Yeah, it's true. Well, there we go. 120. There we go.
Yeah, 120 different apps, and not too bad, not too bad. And that is the Shorts Apple segment this week.
Yep.
So, which is nice. It's not forever in a day. Interesting though. I want to move us to our AI segment, and I saw these, Chris. You forwarded these on.
I did
sometime this week, and I saw these, and they're both very, very interesting. There's two different videos that we're going to go ahead and talk about here. The first one here being that free Chat GPT is dead. And what is the message? What does that mean, and what is the message?
Well, so there's basically, there's really three levels of ChatGPT available today. There's what we call the free one. That's one most of us are using,
right?
If we're honest. Then there's the ChatGPT. Is it Plus? I think they call it.
Yeah.
That's the $20 a month package where you get get a certain amount of kind of advanced querying and things like that. And then there's this ChatGPT Pro. Okay, so ChatGPT Pro is coming in at $200 a month. Okay, and it's supposed to give you much higher level.
Well, I thought, isn't there a business tier in between Pro and or in between Pro and Plus? I think there is.
Only if you have enough seats, they'll make it. It's one of those call for pricing.
Got it.
No, because one of the things that I did at $30 a seat a month
doesn't show up now, Chris. It doesn't. I was just up and looked.
I had this earlier this year, and due to the employment situation for me, I had to go ahead and cancel it. But I was paying $60 a month, and had Michelle and I my wife and I, on ChatGPT, and I thought it was ChatGPT Pro. All right.
No,
Pro was listing now.
Yeah, so Pro individually right now is listing at $100 a month.
Okay.
And the rumor is it's going to $200 a month very, very shortly, if it hasn't already.
I thought that was a special. Isn't that a special?
I think it is a special number.
You sign up now for $100, you get it for the rest of the year. Then
something like that. I think you're right. There's something like that.
It's a honeymoon deal.
So free is obviously $0. There's a middle one between free and Plus called Go.
All right.
And Go is basically free, but it gives you more access to the GPT 5.5. And more messages,
right?
And
so
more
you've
uploads.
Got free. So there are two different sides to this. You've got a personal and you've got a business side. So on the personal side, I'm looking at it right.
I'm sorry. I see what you're saying.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at it right now. On the personal side, you've got a free tier for $0 a month. Then you've got Go, which is $8 a month. You've got Plus, which is $20 a month. Then you've got Pro, which is currently $100 a month, and you're saying it's going up.
I believe so.
$100.
Yeah.
On the business side, you've got a free tier, all right, and then you've also got business, which is $20 per user per month.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have a minimum of 2+ users.
Yes, you pay for a minimum of 2 seats.
And that's only when you pay for it for all year. If you pay for it per monthly, it's 25, not 20.
I thought it was 30, but
look at the bottom of your screen.
Okay. Well, the point that I'm making, then they've changed the pricing tier, and
Probably.
they've lowered it by $5 a month because it was 30. All right. I was paying $60 a month. I can pay $40 a month.
I got you.
All right. But the point here is, there's two different sides to this. You've got a number of different tiers on the personal side. And it sounds like, though, based on what's going on here, is that they're going to kill the free tier. And
sort of. So what they're doing is more complicated than that. So that's what these videos were kind of talking about. On the free tier, and the question is maybe also on the plus tier, they're going to do something like this. And what they're doing is two things. One is they're going to shove in ads. They're going to start shoving in ads. And they're already apparently starting this for some folks.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing they're doing is basically you might get your first couple queries normal, and then it'll send you to the dumb model to make it cheaper because it's cheaper per.
Sure.
So they're going to shove you, and you're not going to realize they did that. You're just going to start getting stupider answers and wonder why. And
good.
So that's what the video is saying. They're doing or going to do or about to do or have started to do. And those are the kinds of things, and they're saying that everybody's going to have to do this. They're using ChatGPT as the example, but they're saying because right now it's all being funded by venture capital. We're all being kind of prorated and funded. That's going to start drying up because people are starting to realize they're not getting the returns yet. And they're kind of running the end of the bubble is what they're thinking. So they think we're going to start to have that venture capital dry up, and then they're going to have to pay for it somehow.
Yeah, and isn't that also kind of sliding into the next subject here,
does.
which is the AI bubble versus the .com crash of the early 2000s? History is kind of repeating itself.
Yeah. So again, keep in mind that the folks, obviously, when you see anything on the internet, folks, it comes from a perspective. It comes from an opinion. It comes from a bias. Okay. This one does too, and it's obviously not a very pro AI business kind of model in a lot of ways. And what they're saying is if you look at history and you look at the AI bubble, that we have now, we're in the middle of the AI bubble, and all the money being funneled into AI through venture capital and whatnot. And then you look back at the early 2000s and you look at what was going on
with the .com
with the .com boom.
Yeah.
And basically they compare the business model of Cisco at the time with the business model of ChatGPT now. And they're very very, very similar. And they're showing very similar trajectories in the way they're behaving, and they're expecting very similar results. And they're also saying that the same kinds of groups of people that funded the .com bubble are now also funding this
the
bubble.
AI bubble. Yeah.
So the concern is that they just are going to, and a lot of them started to get out of the market at 2024. There's like a month or two period where a whole bunch of them dumped out of it, and it's like it's very suspicious, and everybody's just kind of left floating. And the question is, where does that leave us? Well, there's been a lot of history that said that maybe the bubble, either AI will succeed this year on its own, or it's going to implode. One of those two things, and I guess we'll see what it does. But
if that bubble is stretching to the point where folks are feeling that it's going to pop again, there's going to be a lot of deja vu, because the .com crash, all right, was a horrible time for IT and for business. It was rotten. It was if you were in an IT job, there were a lot of layoffs, and there were a lot of companies that were going through an identity crisis, trying to figure out, well, if I'm not the website, what am I?
Right.
If I'm not a website, what am I? What kind of a business model do I have if it's not traffic on the web?
To point out, they said when the .com bubble went boom, and Cisco, lost a lot of value at that point. It took them 20 some odd years to get back to the level they were at before the dot-com boom.
And now we're 5 years later, 6 years later than that.
We're way beyond. So the point is, they took a long time to get back here, and they said that they expect the impact on the industry when the AI boom goes bust is going to be similar in a lot of it. That's the speculation. Again, guys, remember it's speculation, but they're saying, look, the models match. Here's where we are.
We see
what
a similar
boggles my
trajectory.
mind, and it differs, I think, from back in the dot-com thing. Now there's a ton more money being just poured into AI. I mean, billions. I just
hundreds of billions.
And there's the thing is, even if whether you agree with what the video is saying or not, and all this money's being funneled into it, there's nothing backing it right now. No. There's just nothing. There's nothing.
It's a freaking gamble.
Everybody keeps saying, wait till the next version of our models. Wait till the next version. There isn't any. The goal was AGI, general intelligence, and it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And so, what are you funding?
Well,
and nobody has a good answer.
But did you really think that we were going to get AGI in under 5 years?
Oh, of course not. Of course not. But the point is, all this money, billions of dollars, have been funneled into data centers, and NVIDIA has made tons of money, and they're going to bust too when this happens, for the same reasons, because the demand is going to drop, right?
Well,
so
the demand for
when the money disappears, the demand will drop.
Yep.
And so it's going to be interesting. The money's flaking around right now, so it's hard to know where it's going to go. But if it does drop, and odds are good it will, if it matches the previous, encounter with the dot-com boom, at some point it'll drop.
Well, we also said this. We had said, that the bubble was going to pop.
Sooner or later, it has to.
And it's probably gonna pop this year or next.
Well,
all right.
And it wouldn't be so bad if there was something backing this. There's nothing behind this.
Yeah.
There's nothing to show for it at this point.
In terms of actual product.
Well, in terms of business revenues,
business value and product
value of this, it hasn't been there. It's not there yet, and that's the concern. If it doesn't show up soon, people are going to lose faith in it, and there's going to go the market.
Right. So, no, I get that.
You guys realize that as we sit here talking, there are over 5,000 data centers, AI data centers, just in the U.S., 12,000 worldwide. Just here, there are 1,800 more under construction.
And that's with 95% of the AI projects not succeeding, and with 50% of the data center projects falling apart before they're finished. And you still have those numbers.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I don't know. I got a bad feeling, not to quote Princess Leia, but I've got a bad feeling.
Well, and the thing is when it pops, it's not going to just impact ChatGPT, Gemini,
it's going to impact everything.
Everything is going to be impacted. Like, for example, my company has their product Illusion Student, that's our integration with AI. ServiceNow uses AI built into it as well. Every single IT product out there nowadays has AI built into it.
Whether it needs it or not.
And whether they want it or
because
not,
that's the model. If you're not pushing AI into your product, then you're going to be left behind.
But that's the problem, is that most of those integrations are kind of pointless.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most people would argue a lot of these things, they don't really want it or use it or care about it.
Nope.
Right.
Do I really need AI to help me make my order at Chick-fil-A? Do I really need that?
No, you don't.
Right? Really?
And I don't need AI to replace the summer job for that kid, in high school either.
I went through White Castle the other week, and the freaking order taker was an AI.
Right.
Yeah. It was like
they're doing that at
Wendy's too.
Yeah,
it tells you I'm an AI. I'm going to take your order. Okay, that's do I really need that?
No.
I mean, you think about the fact that this is a thing running on servers in a data center somewhere, sucking up power, and we're complaining about the power that these things take up. Could you pay that kid $3.50 an hour or $5 an hour sit there and take my order at the restaurant? What the heck?
Well,
was that really that big a deal?
But then you've got the other problem is that $3.50 to $5 an hour is not a quote unquote livable wage. You can't do that anymore. Blah 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 blah.
But you can with underage and all that. Until they're not underage, till they're.
But the problem with the fast food AI, that things get the orders wrong half the time, unless you just say, "Give me a Big Mac." It's fine. But if you say, "Give me a Big Mac, add extra pickles, hold the ketchup, do this, do that," then it goes, wait, I'll get you to a human.
Right. Yeah, or show you this thing. Say, is this correct? No. It's not.
Yeah, the federal minimum wage has been unchanged since 2009. It's currently sitting at $7.25 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Gotcha.
Now a state minimum wage. All right. It's a little bit different because now states have got their own minimum wages now.
Really, as they should.
No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
I disagree with that because one state can have one different minimum wage, another state can have a different minimum wage.
I'll be honest, the Illinois minimum wage is $15 an hour. That's more than twice. That's more than twice.
Well, what about California, Chris? My God, it costs $200,000 for a pup tent house.
Right.
I mean,
you can't even live there.
You got to factor in geology here. I mean,
but the point is, irregardless of whether the individual states have different numbers or not, it's kind of pointless here because even if you look at the higher numbers and you look at what it's costing to run these AIs, I don't know that it's really equivalent at this point.
No, I still think it's cheaper. I still think even California state minimum wage is $16.90 an hour. I still think it would be cheaper for a company in Illinois or even in California. With that $1.90 an hour difference to employ some worker at their state's minimum wage, it would be cheaper for them to do that than to actually pay for the AI.
Right.
That's my thought as well, and the IT departments to support the AI and all the other pieces that go along with that. So I just don't see it being. It's not there. Again, the business model isn't there. I recommend people go ahead and watch these videos, but go out and do some research on your own as well, because there's a lot of information happening right now. This is changing very, very, very quickly.
Right.
You guys need to
rely on
educate
an
yourselves.
AI to give you the news.
No, please. Don't get your news from the chum bucket, kids. That's what I'm telling you.
No.
Go out, do some research on this, because there's a lot of information, and there's contradictory opinions as well. So please feel free to read. Watch, whatever you're going to do.
One of the two, but
you got to do it.
Yeah, you do.
The point is, this is important. It's changing fast, and nobody knows where this roller coaster is going to end up, kids.
Oh, this time next month, it's going to be a completely different game.
It's
changing that fast. It's changing
so fast. Yeah.
So you got to stay up on it. Anyway, so that is the AI segment for this week. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move us to our mobile segment, and there's some interesting things that are happening in here. This first one, we had talked about this a little bit a number of weeks ago, related to OnePlus. They're back in the news. It's truly over for OnePlus. They are overdone with and gone. Isn't that right, Joel? Isn't that what Droid Life is saying anyway?
That's what Droid Life is saying, and so basically, they're concluding all new product rollouts in North America and Europe. So there's not going to be any new phones. There's going to be limited support for phones you do have. They are going to support OS updates on the existing phones they already have. So that's a good thing. But other than that, not that I will say this, OnePlus hasn't had a massive presence here in North America.
No, they have not.
There's not one single carrier that actually carries it.
No, but Chris and I both have OnePlus Opens.
Right,
we do.
It's a nice phone. But I will say, I
phone.
opened mine today. I got a whole bunch of updates from their internal news feed. They have their internal membership news feed, and it was saying the same thing. We're pulling out.
Yeah.
So,
which is sad, and I got the an OS update a number of months ago, and it's
they've always been a little slow on those, but they get them.
Yeah, well, but it's also very, very clear that whatever's not already out, there ain't going to be any more. They're done.
No, I think we're going to get security updates for a while, probably. But and here's why I say that, because their parent company Oppo still has an operating system that's almost identical. I think there's no reason they can't keep the security updates going, and I think they probably will for a while. But not forever.
But clearly, Oxygen OS, even though it is a derivative or a branch of Color OS, which is the operating system for Oppo devices,
version, right.
Oxygen OS is done. OnePlus is done. They're gone.
I'm wondering if they're going to do something like release Color OS as an update for Oxygen OS devices.
I think
it'd be interesting. I don't know if they will, but
I think I speculated on this about a week or two ago, in the show. But to be honest, I would be very surprised if they did.
And the larger rumor mill is, of course, that Oppo is going to just go ahead and slowly expand their coverage back into Europe and back into the US if they can, with their own Oppo brand rather than the OnePlus brand. So, but we'll see if they do it or not.
It's the same phone. It's effectively the same operating system. If they can do that, and if the federal government doesn't block the import of these devices, and that could be good for the U.S. as well. But don't hold your breath if you're in the U.S.
There's a reason we don't see a whole lot of Huawei phones here either, such as it is.
No.
So.
Yeah. But one good thing though that it is happening is that there's a $138 iPad mini clone from Walmart. And there's speculation that it actually might be better.
Yep. Well, I don't think it's better, but there was this video I saw this week where basically they were comparing it to the iPad mini in many respects. Now, I will say the iPad mini has a better screen. It has a lot of other things that are better.
It's got premium hardware, and this is obviously going to be $138. This is going to be a discount device.
I was going to put out $138. It's certainly better than what they used to put out.
Exactly. Well, that's the whole thing here. This ONN tablet from Walmart is 8.1-inch screen, 64 gigabytes of storage. Comes with Android 16. And the screen is an IPS display at 1000 by 10 or 1524, which is not the best, but not bad.
Not horrible. No.
But it has a 2.4 gig octa-core processor with 6 gigs of RAM.
Do we know whose processor's in this thing? Whose it is?
I'm thinking it's a MediaTek.
That would make sense to me too.
Yeah, I think it's got to be either a MediaTek or somewhere along that line. But the whole point in this video is that the cheap tablets, unless you're a Fire tablet,
don't even get me
Fire
started.
Tablets suck.
Don't even get me started on a Fire tablet. Come on.
So if you look at the ONN tablet, it's $138 for a decent little device that you can watch YouTube and videos on. Perfect for your kid.
You know what this device does, though, guys? Where you and I, all four of us, are surrounded by our fancy Apple gear and whatnot, Google gear. This puts a decent tablet in the hands of people who otherwise couldn't afford it.
And
it also is a great thing if all you want it for is to play Wordle or Words with Friends.
Well, let's add another piece to this before. Right. If you asked me this even a year or two ago, I'd say, yeah, but the Android OS sucks on tablets. It's gotten better. It's done it in fits and starts, but it's better on a tablet than it used to be. A lot better.
Agreed.
And not all that far off from it is the Lenovo tablets. For $189, the one you can get a tablet with 128 gig of storage. A 1920 by 1200 60 hertz screen. By the way, I'm the ONN tablet as well, which has that's a better refresh rate than on the iPad Mini. You got the Helio G85 processor on the Lenovo tablet, which is also an octa-core processor. And by the way, it has expandable memory on the Lenovo. You don't have that on an iPad. You can put a micro SD card in this thing. So these cheap tablets are getting better. As long as they're not a Fire tablet, you're not going to be unhappy with them.
Yeah, I think they're
most
pretty
things.
Good. Yeah, I think so too. I think they're certainly. I mean, they're not the high end performance. They're not they're not your high end Snapdragons. It's not your high end Tensor or anything like that. But they're decent. They get you going for that price point. Mm-hmm. I'm not complaining at that price point.
No,
not at all.
I mean, and it goes back towards where like in the next thing. We're going to talk about how the only good phones are Samsung and Google for Android.
Well, yeah, apparently, that I mean that.
Well, we go there.
At least in the U.S., that's all that's really left, right? Is Samsung and Google,
right?
That's what Droid Life says. I mean, but here is where Droid Life is absolutely wrong. Now, are we talking high-end devices? No. All right, the only ones with high-end devices are going to be Google or Samsung, period.
Right.
However, you can get an acceptable phone from Motorola.
True enough.
Probably 90% of the people, including foldables and flips. You got the Razr.
They do.
From Motorola, which is, I mean, is it as high-end of a phone as the Google or Pixel ones? No,
but it gets great ratings.
But people like it, But I go to Verizon's website, and there are other phones made by other companies other than Samsung or Google. Now, like I said, are they high end? No, they're not. Are they completely awful phones? No.
No, and a lot of people are perfectly content with these mid-range devices. The Motorola's are typically mid-range devices. People are perfectly happy with them. They do what they need them to do. They move on.
Nokia has an Android device on Verizon.
They do.
Now. I mean,
they do.
So I mean, it's like Now, granted, like I said, is it going to be as fast or as nice as a Samsung Galaxy phone of any level, or a Pixel phone? Probably not. But they're not going to be horrible. I mean, they're and they're going to get, most of them are I would say you might question Motorola on software updates, maybe, but
but yeah, I get it, and again, we've talked about this before. You go outside the U.S., there's a lot of other choices. Yep. It isn't just these two.
But the Motorola phones are coming with Android 16.
They are.
I mean, so are they coming with Android 17? No, but their 16's not that far out of date, and it's getting software updates. It's staying secure, and you can get a foldable. Yep. So I mean, it's Droid Life needs to pull their head out of their ass. I'm sorry, because they're looking at it as we would look at it. Would I buy a Motorola phone now as my only phone? No. Would I buy it as a secondary phone? Actually, I'm thinking about it. I wouldn't mind having a flip phone that would fit inside my Ruse Sport a lot easier than my Pixel 9 Pro XL. Am I going to buy the Motorola phone versus the Pixel 11 Pro XL once they release it in August? No. No, I mean, that's not happening.
I think Joel has stepped his horse into the Rubicon here.
Yeah,
on that Pixel 11.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a given. Especially if they offer me a deal to let me trade my phone in before not have to pay the rest of the $500. I think I only owe like $400 or $500 on it. So
there you go.
So, but on the other side of that, there are other ones. So.
True.
Definitely a thing.
True, but yeah. And speaking of Google, apparently the EU is at it again, and this just really annoys the.
When are they not at it?
Well,
on something.
This is true.
If they're not at it, we're at it. So it's always pick a content.
This is true. They've recently ordered Google to make AI and search engine changes under the DMA. And this is kind of what is really sort of annoying me. All right.
Right.
To say the least, yeah.
So, and this is from Paul. Apparently, on Friday, the European Commission announced that Google will need to make some major changes to its AI and search businesses. They want to prevent Google from abusing its dominant market positions to harm the competition. Sometimes I think that and this I'm going to go off on a brief tangent here. Sometimes I think that the EU and the EC is so concerned about antitrust and competition that and they're more concerned on it than what those changes may actually end up doing to the product and how that those changes may actually harm consumers. I think they've got it backwards, but that's just me. But apparently, according to what's going on at the EC, today they have issued 2 sets of binding specification measures to Google under the DMA. The aim of the first specification measure is to ensure that competitors' artificial intelligence service can compete with Google's own AI services, such as Gemini, by having equal access to features on Google Android devices. The aim of the second specification measure is to rebalance the playing field by giving third-party search engines access to search data that only Google Search can collect at scale. That last one's a little bit ballsy. All right. The second part of that second.
Well, Google has not yet responded whether they're going to appeal this or not. I think they will.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about this too, that they're not the only ones dependent on the way Google search works. Apple is dependent on the way Google search works.
Right.
I would not be surprised if you'd see some sort of supporting kind of documents that come from Apple or others. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
Well,
they don't want to see this
to
change.
Rebalance the playing field by giving third-party search engines access to search data that only Google Search can collect at scale. Aren't they demanding again some level, that they want the recipe to the secret sauce? Isn't this the EU again demanding that Google open up where and how and what they actually do with search?
That's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, to some extent,
only Google can collect that data at scale. Well, isn't that one of the reasons why Google is as successful as they are? So now you're going to penalize me as Google. You're going to penalize me because I am successful and make me give away the store secrets. Why would I do that? Why would I want to do that?
Well, yeah, it is a question, but I do understand the problem with the AI assistants and what the AI assistants can get to and not get to. That's a challenge. It's a challenge. I get it. Right. But I don't necessarily. But the other problem too is that you can argue, and I think they have argued that Google got its dominant position in a not entirely, we'll just say, straightforward way. And so by doing what they did, they really owe something back to the people that they got that data from in the first place. You could argue that.
Do they? Or I mean, because look, people got exactly what they were looking for when they gave over all of that data. All right. When people gave up all of their personal data, they got access to the products. All right. It's free as long as I get to go ahead and scrape all of, how you do, what you use the product for, what you're actually getting back from the product, all the data that you're going to put in, blah, 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 blah. That was built into the terms of service for Gmail
Well,
and for
but
Sheets and Google Docs and all that
you
other
know
stuff.
as well, you know as well as I do. Everybody clicks on those without actually reading the terms of service.
Yes,
you know,
don't get me wrong. I'm not standing up. I'm
not.
not standing up for the lawyers. All right.
Well, they'll make money no matter what, so don't worry about that.
All right, but aren't the lawyers going to go ahead and say that's not my problem? That's your problem. That's my, that's a consumer problem.
No, they're going to go ahead and say,
they didn't read the terms of service. That's not Google's fault.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. But the point I'm getting at is that it could be argued that there is some public debt here of sorts. You could argue that.
I get Chris, that would mean
I don't know. It's a good argument.
Everybody that's successful in business owes something back. No, I don't think so. I don't buy that.
No, you as the consumer got
if
what
I'm
you were
first
looking for. You got access
something,
to the service. You were able to use the email. You were able to use the office
hang on, that's
suite.
not the only. But that's not the only piece of this. So, however, if you're a business, at least in the U.S., and I'm sure there's a similar thing is true in the EU. Yeah. You're a business. You have to pay taxes because you benefit from public services to run your business. Okay.
Yeah.
You could argue this is a similar animal. On top of that, there were things like in the early days, Google got access to the Library of Congress. They could scan anything in the Library of Congress, and they didn't pay for that.
I'm pretty sure they could still do it. Still do that.
But the point is, they didn't pay for it, and the benefit was supposed to be there was supposed to be some benefit to the public for them having digitized all that, and that's part of how Google Books and Google Translate got to be made and got to be improved on early on. That's not part of how they did it. So, okay, do they owe something for that? Well, you could argue maybe yeah, maybe no. But the point I'm getting at is that but they benefited from things other than you clicking on a terms of service. That's what I'm getting at.
I don't think they owe a damn dime on it.
So
I don't think they owe anybody anything.
But I can understand where they're going with this, and I don't agree with it. I totally agree that this is ridiculous, but it's an overreach. But I do understand how they get there, how they get to these kinds of conversations. So, here we go.
I'm thinking back 5 years. All of the stories that we talk about the EU. Yeah. They're all like this, every single one of them. Did you ever wake up one morning and see an article that says, oh, the EU did something wonderful today? No. It's just...
Well, it's not just the EU, Larry. We have the same thing happens here. We just don't present it the same way, but it's the same nonsense happens.
Well,
our government does the same
I would
stuff.
agree with it.
They do the same nonsense. They just put it under different wording, but it's the same BS.
No,
the difference between here and the EU, though, is we have a much bigger lobbyist pool to fight against this stuff than the EU has.
Yeah,
they don't have that. They don't have that layer.
No,
so it becomes more obvious there.
And there's pluses and minuses to both.
There's
sides
pluses and minuses to that. Yeah, I agree. So that's why we see more direct kind of information. We aren't buffered by anything. Right. We're buffered by it here, but they're not buffered by it there. So it's a thing.
So
it'll always be there first.
So interestingly enough, Google has until July of 27 to make the changes to Android, and until January 27 to make the changes to search. So they've got a little bit of time. They are not amused. They are not amused, and they haven't said whether they're going to appeal any of these changes, which are currently. This isn't a proposal. This is legislation that's been passed. This is legally binding. They have to do this. All right.
Yeah.
And they have until July of 2027 for Android and January of 2027 for search to get these things done. So they got to do search first.
But they're claiming they've already basically put things in place already.
Whether or the EU has a huge history of looking at what companies say they've already done to make changes. Going, no, that's not enough.
That's not enough. They do have the history of that. That's for sure.
Whether or not they understand what's been done or not is a different story. But they have a huge history of going, no, not enough. Do more.
What's going to be interesting in all this is if let's say they get the EU goes ahead with this, and let's say that Google does have to in fact make these changes and whatnot. That is not only going to affect what Google search data availability to these various things. But going forward, that's going to start to impact them and others who are who are generating models and new models.
Yep.
Sooner or later, somebody's going to say, you're going to have to open up access to your models.
Yeah.
And the data that your models are not just Google, but everybody's.
Yeah.
So right now, Google is the scapegoat up on the on the pedestal here, but it's not going to stop there.
Right? No, it won't. It won't. And I think Europe is probably going to be the ones that cross that line first. And at that point, I think you're going to see a huge amount of pushback. You can't have access to the model. The model is our product. It's our intellectual property, and you can't have it. Pass all the legislation you want. The answer is no.
Well, I think what's going to happen, and we've seen Apple and others do this to an extent, is we saw this in Great Britain when they passed law that Apple said, no, we're not going to put the service there. You're done.
Yeah,
we're pulling that out. We're not going to do that. We're not going to offer it. And I think that's what's going to happen. These services just won't be offered in places where the restrictions are too much.
Yes, agreed.
That's what's going to happen. They're just going to say, okay, fine, then you're done. We're not giving it to you anymore. We're done.
Yeah. You deal with the fallout from all of your citizens.
You deal with the fallout. We're done.
Yeah.
That's what'll probably happen.
Agreed. Big mess.
Yeah, always, right?
Yeah. And speaking of a big mess, we've got more to talk about in our Windows and Linux segment, but we're going to do that right after this brief message. Hi, this is Christopher Spera from iTechGear.org. I wanted to talk with you today about becoming a contributing donor to our site. iTechGear.org and our weekly podcast, the iTechGear Weekly, has been around for over 15 years, and the show is entering its 6th season in September of 2026. I've never actively asked for any kind of donations to the site. It's always been about me providing value to you. And everyone working with the site and the show is having a great time providing you with some of the best free content available from time-tested OG product reviewers, testers, site founders, and professional writers and editors on the internet. I truly believe our crew has some of the best and most qualified commentators on the internet today. However, times are really tough. And since the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020 to 2023, it's become increasingly difficult for small independent sites like iTechGear.org to stay afloat. I normally do this with a portion of my day job salary, but with the IT market so tight, it's sometimes difficult for many to make normal household ends meet, let alone fund a site and a podcast on their own. If you find any of our content on iTechGear.org or from the iTechGear Weekly of any value, I would genuinely appreciate it if you could make a donation of any amount to our efforts. All donations will go to site maintenance and hosting and to podcast hosting and everything iTechGear related. Donations can be made to my PayPal account at chris@iTechGear.org. Make a donation and we'll immediately thank you on the next iTechGear Weekly episode and voice our gratitude. Thank you for your time and consideration. Now, let's get back to the latest iTechGear Weekly episode. And welcome back to the iTechGear Weekly episode number 177. Smoke them if you got them. Yeah. Excuse me.
That too.
Yeah. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, you know, they were saying that standing outside for a half an hour is like smoking 7 cigarettes all at once.
I'll tell you what, with the stretch of my job, maybe I need to be standing outside for a while then.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of some wonderful things, you know, getting into our Windows and Linux segment, I said there were some wonderful, wonderful things that were coming with that. The Verge, God bless them. I'll tell you what, you know, they
every now and then.
Every now and then.
Yeah, every now and then they come up with a decent one here. And this article caught my eye and it was very, very interesting. Even Microsoft couldn't make Windows 11 work well on 8 gigabytes of RAM. And this is all referring to their new entry-level Surface laptop,
Yeah.
13-inch. So that particular notebook came in at about $900, and was something that could easily be recommended to anybody. But anytime you ran, I mean, if you were going to go ahead and do anything with that, as long as you didn't push it, everything was okay. And what I mean by pushing it is as long as if you were running email, if you were doing very light email, if you were not, i.e., not Outlook, all right, not Outlook Classic, but if you were running like a email in a web browser, if you were looking at so just some light web browsing, some light email, you were okay. The moment that you brought up something like Teams, it made the machine and started doing any kind of a video chat or any sort of what I would consider to be reasonable activity via Teams, having some kind of a video conference and sharing any kind of screens or whatever. The machine would freeze and lock up.
Well, their own Copilot crap embedded did part of that.
Yeah. It's very, very clear that 8 gigabytes of RAM on Windows 11 just isn't enough. All right.
It's not enough on anything.
But it runs fine on a MacBook Neo.
Well, you're right, except the Neo.
It runs fine. It's not perfect. Doesn't run high end, but run pretty well overall. But you can't do that with Windows.
No, you can't. And this is where I think there's a lot of overhead. I think going in. There's a lot of code optimization that needs to happen. I think Apple spent a lot of time optimizing the 26s. For and specifically Mac OS 26. For use on the Neo. They've done a lot of work to actually optimize and ensure that even with 8 gigabytes of RAM, you have an overall decent experience where you can FaceTime with videos, you can share screens, you can use Teams, you can do some things on that device, and it's not going to get really sort of slow until you really start to abuse the processor by doing a lot of graphic intensive stuff.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Whereas with any kind of Windows hardware or Windows operating, forget it.
And it's long since known that the Mac OS and Linux OS, Linux OS flavors are all much more memory efficient than Windows. Yeah. Windows has always been bloated for a long time. 11 is just the worst example of it and the least optimized version of it in a long time. That's all.
In a long time.
I'm not surprised to see it.
No. And it's disappointing. The biggest problem is, after you get Windows up and running, it's sort of, at least on this Surface laptop that the Verge was referencing, they're using 4.2 gigabytes of RAM out of 8. All right.
Okay.
So the operating system consumes half of the RAM.
Just starting it up.
Just over half of the RAM. Just over half of the RAM just to run the base operating system. All right. Just to get you to a desktop. And forget it if you've got any kind of graphics or nice wallpaper or whatever, startup sounds and whatever you've got going on with your computer to get it personalize it. You're going to use even more RAM. It's just amazing that that Windows is pushing a computer that's got 8 gigabytes of RAM is not upgradable, and you really can't use it.
Not really, not anymore.
I don't get it. So,
there was a time 8 gig was enough for Windows, but not anymore.
Now you really if you're you really want to you really want 16 gigabytes of RAM minimum.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, and even there's a whole bunch of folks out there that are saying, even 16 isn't going to be, with the way that the things are going with Windows. It just seems to be a memory pig.
Mm.
It'll swallow and eat as much as you give it. So if you got 8, it wants 16. You got 16, it wants 32. You got 32, it wants 64. And so on and so, and they'll tell 2 friends, and so on and so on and so on. So,
there you go.
You've really got to watch that. If Microsoft can't make a computer or engineer a computer that will run on 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it's their hardware and it's their operating system, forget it. Forget it. So,
unfortunate.
And that's not the only bad thing that they've got going on right now over there. Apparently, and this is me going into the next story, the CEO over at Xbox, their Xbox division, Asha Sharma, is effectively saying that cuts and layoffs are not going to solve their biggest problems with growth and with a lot of their gaming issues that they've got going on. It's sad. Help me out here a little bit, Chris.
Well, first of all, she hasn't been in the job very long.
No, she hasn't.
And she came from I forget which group she came from. Was it the AI group she came from? I don't remember which group she came from.
I don't remember
but it had nothing to do with gaming or Xbox.
No.
It had nothing to do with this side of the business. So I really think she walked in without really understanding the business she was getting into. That's just my opinion. But and so far, I haven't seen any good results of it. So whatever she brought to the table so far hasn't worked.
Why do they do these things? Why do they bring inexperienced leaders into new areas?
Because they think they think business is business, Larry. That's what they think.
Right.
And, one business is the same as any other business, and they're just going to drive it. And usually that's people who think that, we'll just cut costs and increase profits. And that'll be all we have to do.
We'll add some AI. It'll get better.
And it's like, yeah, you didn't really understand the business you walked into. Sorry.
Well,
that's what it seems like. That's what it's looking like.
Well, they've got to figure out where the next revenue stream is. They've got problems. They got problems with games. They got problems with subscriptions. They got problems with costs and overruns. All right.
Mm-hmm. Got problems with their browser.
Right. They've got problems with hardware costs and consoles. Right. And I don't know how many of these, given the current market and the way that things are going in the market in general, and given that she's not really a gaming expert, I don't know how she thinks she's going to solve the problems that they've got.
Here's what she was a product leadership role at Meta, and she worked for Instacart. So again,
what the hell does that have to do with
and she was president of Core AI product at Microsoft. So her history has nothing to do with gaming at all. So I think that's hard to walk into that. I don't think people realize how different that business is.
Oh, it's completely. They need a long-term studio and gaming strategy. All right, what they're going to do with products and how they're going to drive users back to the platform.
Well, you have to keep people excited. You have to do what Nintendo's got it figured out. Nintendo understands when you're going to release a new product, a new hardware product, you got to have a must-have game.
Yeah,
you got to. You got to do that.
And for them, it's always been Mario Party or
the Zelda products or something like that is what they do. And Xbox used to have stuff like that, like Call of Duty back in the day, kind of thing. But they forgot how to do that.
That and Halo, right?
Right. But the point is that was the kind of thing you did. When you wanted to release a new version, you had that with it as well. Sony still seems to understand that.
Yeah.
With the PlayStation models, they understand that. But even though they're dropping discs, and I could argue about that being a dumb move on their part, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But the point I'm getting at is these guys have lost what makes them interesting. They've forgotten how to do, and it's not about the product, it's about the content. And
correct.
Unless you can get
right.
And let's not forget, now she didn't start this. This started before her, but let's not forget about the big pricing on the streaming gaming and all that they've screwed up last year before last. It was before her.
2 years ago. Yep.
Yeah. So the point is, that's another big faux pas, and they've really never quite made amends for it. Yeah, they brought the prices back down, but not to where they were. So people are still not happy.
Right.
You're not getting them on any side. You're not getting them on streaming and PCs. You're not getting them on Xbox hardware sales. You haven't seen a new Xbox piece of hardware in a while. There's been no innovations in a while.
Right. No.
So what are you doing to excite people? That's it. You got to excite people in this business.
This is their marketing strategy. They really don't have one. This is the top of the list of things that Asha Sharma's got to do, is really figure out what is their marketing strategy going to be. And at this point, I don't know that she has enough experience with gaming to be able to figure that out.
No.
All right. Game Xbox PC presence and discoverability is the next one. They have problems with their catalog and users being able to find new games, get to new games, be excited about new games on the platform. All right. This also kind of bleeds into their problems, their developer back end system problems that they've got. And
that actually raises, I think. So basically, that's the other piece of this. They haven't kept their developers happy.
No.
And let's be honest, the mobileification of gaming has eaten all the consoles' lunch, and these guys haven't figured out how to address it.
The console can no longer be the moneymaker. For a long time, the Xbox hardware was a big piece of the moneymaker for them, and it can no longer be. It has to be about the content. It has to be about the games. It has to be about being able to go ahead and have your own games.
Right.
Nintendo has their own games. Mario Party is a huge title for them, and it's their own title.
And all Nintendo, they're big titles. They're AA titles or AAA titles, whatever you want to call them. Interesting thing, they don't have the same oomph that a PlayStation or an Xbox game has, but they have a wider market.
Yes,
they everybody loves them, because they play well consistently. They're mobile, they're not mobile, they're everything.
Right.
And these guys haven't figured out. You are not what you need to be right now. None of them are. And Sony's holding on better, but they're not what they need to be yet either at this point. They're having challenges as well. But these guys, they got to get back on the gamers need to be thrilled, excited. You're not doing that until you figure that out. You're not going anywhere.
Right. They also they've got a customer support problem. Finding a way to get to a human to solve a problem is very, very difficult.
Yes.
They really don't have any kind of customer support to speak of, aside for those scammers that are out there that are basically telling you that you've got viruses on your machines, and they can call you to help you get rid of them. They have no customer support. Their hardware and their hardware ecosystem and the desirability thereof, they've got issues there.
They do.
Game exclusive gaming issues, and those being what you were talking about, Chris. With the Nintendo titles. Halo itself is no longer exclusive just to Xbox, and it doesn't have the draw that it used to have.
No, it doesn't.
All right, and I think part of that is because it's no longer exclusive to Xbox. All right,
that's part of it.
And I think that they've also got. I think they oversaturated the market. And I think people are tired of the whole Halo thing. It was
They are. Well, that can't be your only thing.
right.
That's the problem. You can't be your only thing. If that's your only thing, you get no repeat customers. People are, they're dull, they're bored, move on, and they want something else.
They've got things like Fable, Forza Horizon 6, right? That they really haven't done. They haven't given the same level of marketing attention to either of those two titles as they have to Halo, and I think
they really
overplayed Halo, and
I think so.
People are tired of it.
Remember when in Windows, but before we had Copilot, we called it Cortana.
Yeah,
and everybody said, "Who the hell's Cortana?"
Yeah,
nobody had a clue. Nobody cared. And then he said,
nobody got.
"Oh, it's from our games."
Halo.
Well, none of us play your damn games. We're business people. We don't give a shit.
Yeah,
and they completely misunderstand the markets. So what I'm getting at is it's not just the gaming market. They don't get any of their markets. There's a whole
they've got a marketing department problem.
They've got a larger marketing department problem, and we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
So there's something not.
So cuts and layoffs are not going to solve their issues. It
isn't.
Over at Xbox, they've got larger problems that they need to go ahead and solve. And to be very, very honest, I don't see Asha Sharma being the person to solve them.
No,
not currently, not based on what we've seen so far. Anyway.
So, I mean, Microsoft could really do something interesting and cool here. Like, for example, we had stories about Sony ditching physical media. That's all Microsoft really needs to do is start embracing physical media again, because they can literally steal a good chunk of the market, because gamers are not happy with losing physical media. Go back to the point where instead of having a disc, it's basically just a key and downloading all the crap. Put the damn game on the disc.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to have to give up, tens or hundreds of gigabytes of space on a drive just because I want to play a game today.
Right. Yeah. Go back, embrace that physical media, and
something to differentiate themselves. Yeah.
I mean, do something different than the rest of the world's doing. And
they'll probably have to reinvent the media, though, Joel, because you can't find discs anymore. I mean, they're gone.
Well, game discs are still out. You can go to Best Buy. You can go to Best Buy and get game discs.
Yeah,
but
still,
they're not
Nintendo's doing
they're
that though too. I mean, Nintendo Switch 2 games are turning into that as well now, and that's not.
It's true. It's true. And by the way, in a weird way, Larry, actually, Blu-ray has started to make a comeback, and I'm not sure why.
True.
It actually has started to pop up
again.
Maybe it's
quality, perhaps. I don't know.
It might be, or people might be having challenges because streaming does limit you. You're set to a certain thing, and there's challenges with it, and people are tired of paying Netflix and Hulu and Disney, and they're getting exhausted from all that. So I think some people are buying movies now again. Right. It's one of those interesting, weird times. I don't know why they're doing it, but right now there's a slight resurgence on Blu-ray for some reason.
The thing is, though, is when you buy a Blu-ray movie, it's not going to go away.
Yeah, that's a big part of this. I think you're right.
I mean, it's not going to go away. I can watch I ripped my Blu-rays. Bite me. Anyway, so I got them sitting on a hard drive, so I can watch. I have the movie Rad, all right, from the '80s, which is a BMX movie that I enjoyed in the 80s, and I still like to watch every once in a while, and I can watch it anytime I want. I don't have to go look for it on a streaming service like Netflix and say, oh, it's not there, so I can't watch it. No, I can just watch it anytime I want. That's why physical media works.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well, that and there's, you paid a lot of money for all the games that you bought.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Yep.
And, every now and again, I'm going to want to go back through my library and play something that I haven't played in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I should be able to do that.
Yep.
And I shouldn't have to fight my hardware my new hardware to be able to go and do that.
Everything does not have to be a service. Huh? Everything does not have to be a service.
No.
And you're right, Joel. Microsoft could really differentiate themselves by separating themselves from that model, but Microsoft is very embedded in the service model as well. Right. So they're probably not going to do that. But they could differentiate themselves. That's one way that would be very quick and easy to do, but they won't.
They won't.
Yeah.
So Anyway, yeah. So that's our Windows and Linux
Take us
segment
on to something fun,
for the
Chris.
week. I am gonna take us on to something fun here, kids. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move us to our tip of the week segment. Before we though get to the actual tip, though, I want to remind everybody, iTechGear was founded with the intent of making technology easy for everyone to use and understand. And this team specifically has dedicated their writing careers to that specific purpose. So every week we're going to have a tip and feature it on the iTechGear Weekly. It's going to be authored by one of our experienced editors. And if you've got questions, concerns, comments, requests, or dare I say ideas, you can send those over to tips@itechgear.org. And if and when you do, and we use it on the air, we're going to give you your 15 seconds worth of fame. This week, we've got a Mac tip. All right. Did you know that you can customize the Finder sidebar?
Right? Yes.
I do.
But tell us about it.
Yeah, thank you. I think I will. Finder is where you spend more time than you probably realize. So leaving the sidebar in its default state is it's like never rearranging your desk so that it's customized to the way you want it. You can and you should customize it to match how you actually work. You can open Finder and then drag your most used folders into the sidebar. Your active projects, your downloads, your shared drives, or even specific client directories. You can remove anything you never click. The goal is to reduce friction, fewer clicks, less hunting. All right. You can also add tags to files and folders and then access those tags directly from the sidebar. This is especially useful if your files live in multiple locations but belong to the same category or project. Over time, a well-organized sidebar becomes a navigation hub instead of a generic list. It turns the Finder from a passive file browser into an active productivity tool. Think of it like this. You set up your workspace before a big project. It takes a few minutes, but it pays off every single day. Customize your Finder so that it supports the way that you work, and you will be a happier camper. And that is this week's Tip of the Week segment. So I want to go ahead and move us to our Pick of the Week. But before we get to this week's actual pick, I want to take a moment and remind our listeners that our show picks are typically hardware, software, and other items of interest that we have individually purchased and that we actually use, and that we like enough that we want to recommend them to you, our growing listener base. These are not paid advertisements or anything that we have any kind of affiliated marketing relationship with. If they were, the editorial policy over at iTechGear.org indicates that we have to let you guys know about that up front. These are just things that we sincerely believe in, and we want to bring them to you at the end of each show. Why, Larry?
Because we like you.
Awesome. So you've got the pick of the week, Larry. What do you got?
I do. Everybody's probably heard of a Dymo label writer printer. They've been around since 1992, 93. And unlike most hardware that tries to reinvent itself, Dymo has never changed the way it looked. It's still today, their latest model looks almost identical to the first one that they ever released. And the reason they do that is not broke, don't fix it. So and it's probably a good thing. I've personally used the Dymo printer for probably as long as they've been out. Quick one-off envelope label, package labels for shipping, plastic tubs in the garage, you name it. But the last one I had lasted over 10 years and was still working, which is very atypical for me. I don't keep stuff 10 years.
No.
And as the boys here know.
We know.
And I would have kept it, but it only supports the Intel chip. So the new models, though they haven't changed anything about it, now supports Apple M series and Windows ARM. So in my case, This was the last holdout software on my Mac that uses Rosetta 2, which was one good reason to get a new one. Plus, my old IMO label writer wouldn't support Ethernet, which is the only way to have a printer these days. So now I don't have to listen to, hey, Larry, would you print me a label? Just, hey, print it yourself. You got it on your computer now.
There you go.
But for a label printer that does so much, so fast, and it's a bargain at $139. That's the best price. They offer, when you go to the link in the show notes, and I put the link to Dymo there because it'll tell you more about the printer. And it also tells you places you can buy it local, like your local Staples or Office Depot or whatever.
Right.
Some of their prices are a couple of bucks more than Amazon, but if you want it right now, you might want to pay that and just go downtown and get it. But it's a high-speed direct thermal printing, meaning no ink, no messy ink. It has automatic label recognition, so every time I open it up, the software, or print a label, it says on the bottom right-hand corner, you have 41 labels left. The connection can either be USB LAN or Ethernet. So it makes for a great home office device. Your whole family can use it. Multi-format labels are super, super easy to change. You can change the label roll in this thing in literally 10 seconds. So you can have badges, print badges, barcode labels, whatever you want. But I use it primarily for sending, labeling an envelope or something like that, or a package. So it's something I couldn't do without for a printer. But that's it. That's what I got.
So that's not bad. That's not bad. And like you said, they've got this thing, the where to buy, all right, button that they've got here. There's a great discrepancy. Prices go anywhere from $139.99 at Amazon to $197.99 at Office Depot Office Max. All right.
Interesting.
So
they changed because when I posted that link that you're speaking of was $179.
Yeah. So so that's and some of that's going to be regional. Some of those prices are going to be regional.
Or dependent on sales that everybody's having. Right.
Right.
Can't go wrong with Amazon. That's where I got mine.
No. You can save yourself anywhere between $30 to $60 by getting it through Amazon, and you can get it overnight. So unless you're got to print a label for a box or something, or a letter or something that's got to go out today. All right. Saving that.
Well, also this thing, as we all know, printers have been a pain in our tails since printers. That's the one thing.
Since the 80s. Yeah.
Still a pain in the butt when you got a printer problem. This thing, you install the software, you plug it in to the back of your router, and it goes, "Hi, I'm here. I'm ready to work."
And it just works.
It just works.
It just works. Not bad. The
Not
Dymo
bad.
Label Writer 550 Turbo Label Printer. If you're printing out labels, it's
Very handy at Christmas time too.
Absolutely.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, it hooks up with my Apple address book. So if I wanted to send, a birthday present to Chris Gavula, which I probably am not going to do, but
Well, you missed it, yeah.
I missed it. All I got to do is just pull him up in my Apple address book and poof, send the label.
Print a label. There you go. All right, kids. Well, that is the show. This has been the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 177. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Recorded live Sunday, July 19th, 2026, live from iTechGear Central. For Mr. Chris Gavula, Brother Joe McLaughlin, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin, this is Christopher Spera saying, hey, we will see you next time.